Jesus Sanchez walks it off, and the Marlins storm back and beat the Cubs in an absolutely incredible ending to a baseball game.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Marlins. I'm your host, Jeremiah Geiger. I've been podcasting about the Marlins for 3 seasons now. Go hit me up on X at Jeremiah Geiger 2. And thank you for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let me know your thoughts, your comments down in the comment section about this walk-off winner. This was an incredible game. I'm going to get all into the details, what went right, what went wrong for the Marlins. But the bottom line is that they came back with a 2-out rally in the bottom of the 9th inning and walked off the Cubs. Jesus Sanchez with his best game of the season. Exactly what we've expected and needed from Jesus Sanchez is the hero. He rips a ball down the right field line. Derek Hill scores from second. Sanoja super fast all the way from first, and the Marlins win the baseball game 8-7. Just an incredible game from start to finish. It started off with a bang. Jesus Sanchez leadoff home run. Agustin Ramirez follows him. They go back-to-back. 2 homers in a row right off the gun. And I want to say this. On yesterday's podcast, LMF and I were talking about the fact that Jesus Sanchez shouldn't be a leadoff hitter. Keep him in the leadoff role. If that's what it takes, if that's working, then I stand corrected. I take back everything I said about Jesus Sanchez in the leadoff role. Is it unconventional? Sure. But you know what? Who cares? Because that was absolutely awesome. Just awesome to watch. The Marlins had 11 hits in this one. They had 1 walk. I want to mention this here. 1 walk, 11 hits. You know where that 1 walk came into play? In the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs. Javier Sanoja doesn't chase at a couple fastballs that are right at the bottom of the zone. He's not giving away his at-bat. That created the opportunity for Jesus Sanchez. Derek Hill with 2 outs. Righty on righty. Hill traditionally, throughout his career, not very strong against right-handed pitching. Clayton McCullough leaves him in the game. The broadcast was talking about potentially pinch hitting for him in that situation. And when he's up to bat, I was a little surprised that McCullough didn't pull him for someone off the bench, maybe like Ronnie Simon or whatnot. It paid off because with 2 strikes, he calls for time. He gets composure. He gets himself mentally ready and absolutely rips a double to right field. Kyle Tucker almost made that play. He almost caught it, but it was just out of his grasp, and he reaches second base, and that's what kicked off this rally. Incredible at-bat from Derek Hill. Professional AB. He's a veteran. He's been around. He knows the game. He knows the approach, especially against a guy who's throwing absolute gas. Daniel Palencia, I believe his name is. Not going to lie, I never heard of him before tonight, but he was throwing some heat. 101 to Norby to strike out him. He's throwing 101 to Liam Hicks, got him to ground out, and it felt like the Cubs are going to win this in a very winnable game. The Marlins had their opportunities to win this game. They were ahead. In the 5th inning, bottom of the 5th, they put up a 4 spot. They were up 6-3, and then the Cubs come right back in the top of the 6th and take the lead. Jesus Tinoco gave up 4 earned runs. It wasn't his best outing by far, much like the outing back in Chicago in the friendly confines when he blew a save. Technically, Jesus Tinoco blew a save as well. That's how the scoring works and whatnot. But it doesn't matter. The end is a Marlins win, and it was just pure joy. I'm sitting there on my couch, and I'm watching this 9th inning. First 2 outs happen. And I see Derek Hill up, and then he gets the double. And then I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. 1 base hit ties this up. We have Javier Sanoja up. He's a really good contact hitter. The chances are he's going to put the ball in play. And then he draws that walk. And now it's Jesus Sanchez, lefty versus righty. Sanchez is a really good hitter against right-handed pitching. That's how he's made his career. Is power, slug against righties. Is he a platoon? Has he platooned? Sure. But it was a righty. The matchup was set. Sanchez can handle velocity. He's a very good fastball hitter. And he just scorches a ball down the right field line. And I jump up and I'm yelling, let's go! Let's go! Because this is what it's about, guys. Are the Marlins, what's their record right now? I'm so excited. I think, 19-27. They're 19-27. They're 8 games under. But that joy I felt, that excitement, watching this team battle and not give up, that is the fighting fish. This is what this team is all about. I talk about culture. I've talked about culture a lot when it comes to building a team and when it comes to a new manager and a new group of players. You're naturally going to have to find an identity that everybody can come around and agree on and work towards a common goal and have the same values. This team has culture. They are going to fight. They are never going to give up. They're never going to give away at bats. And you know what? It ain't over till it's over. It's an old saying, but it's very true with these fish. They do not quit. How many times this season have the Marlins either battled back to the very end and lost valiantly and you tipped your cap, much like the Phillies game from a month ago? I still remember that. They put up 6 in the 9th. Liam Hicks with a home run. And yeah, it's a loss, but they battled. That's what this team does. Tonight, they could have easily rolled over. Once you gave up that lead, and then I think it was in the 8th inning, 7th or 8th inning, where Kyle Stowers hits one off the center field wall. I mean, he hit it as perfect as you can, but it's to the deepest part of the ballpark. He misses the home run by 2 feet. Eric Wagman is up next, scorches one to dead center as well. And PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, an incredible defender. His speed out there is unparalleled in the game of baseball right now. I think him and Corbin Carroll, they're just elite defenders. But PCA makes the catch, and you look at it, Eric Wagman hit the ball hard, Kyle Stowers hit the ball hard, nothing to show for it. You're still down 7-6. It felt like that was the Marlins' best shot, and it wasn't. As a collective group, they could have looked at those at-bats and said, well, I mean, we put some good wood on the ball, but it's just not our night. Ball's not going to fall. Nope. What an at-bat by Derek Hill, Javier Sanoja, and how about Jesus Sanchez? Give him some love, everybody. Like, Sanchez is the veteran of this group. He's been around. He's been in the thick of things when it comes to losing records, the 2023 playoff team. He's been here through this rebuild, and he's still in Miami. He's still playing, and he still plays with a smile on his face. Say what you want about the guy and his defense or his crazy swings. Yeah, he's funny. He's a goofy player. But what a game from him. He really showed what he can do at his true potential. A home run, the walk-off double. This was the Jesus Sanchez game. An incredible way to end things. And the Marlins are playing some good baseball right now. Offensively, you go back to a week ago in that White Sox series, it was miserable. It was just miserable. Nothing from the offense. Kyle Stowers was a bright spot, but as a collective group, it was bad. And now you look at this Tampa Bay Rays series. Yeah, you got shut out Saturday, but you got the win on Sunday. You scored 9 runs on Friday, and now you put up 8 runs on Monday. This team is swinging the bat really well. They're seeing the ball really well, and I'm just so happy. I'm so hyped for this team. Edward Cabrera got the start. It was mixed results from him, kind of like a traditional Edward Cabrera start goes. He didn't go deep into the game, but he showcased his strikeout stuff. He looked good. He looked sharp. And if it wasn't for one play, one home run, this game might not have even reached the 9th inning where the Marlins have to walk it off, because he did look good. I'm going to talk about Edward Cabrera. I'm also going to talk about Valente Bellozo and how important he was for this game. And that's coming up right after this. And this episode is brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. And managing your money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. If you're an everyday listener to Locked On Marlins, I appreciate you. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. How excited were you for this game? The ending, just how incredible it was. Because right now, I'm ranking it up there. Top 5, top 3 Marlins games from just a sheer excitement perspective. If this is your first time checking out Locked On Marlins, what an episode you decided to pick. Let me start off with that, but do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and let me know your thoughts as well in the comment section. Join the Locked On Marlins crew all season long, Monday through Friday. Edward Cabrera. I've said before, I don't think he should be a starter. I've been very clear on that. But there's glimpses of Edward Cabrera at his best where that comment sounds really dumb. And from an outsider, somebody who doesn't watch the Marlins every day, if you watch this Edward Cabrera start, you would say, Jeremiah, his stuff is phenomenal. He had pretty good control. Yeah, he gave up a 3-run home run, but that was really the only blemish. What's not to like about him? And I'm going to sit here and give Edward Cabrera his flowers because he deserves it. He deserves some credit for tonight. 5 innings, 5 hits. He gave up 3 runs. The 3 runs, it was a 3-run home run. Crazy play. It was hit out to left field. Kyle Stowers goes over. He times it up perfectly. Jumps over, extends his glove, and it's right off the heel of the glove. And it goes over the fence for a homer. He had it. And unfortunately, he couldn't bring it back in. But that was it. That was the only damage from Cabrera. He struck out 7 Cubs. He only walked 1. Now, his pitch count, let's see here, 90 pitches through 5 innings. I can live with that. At least he made it through 5 innings. And Edward Cabrera is showing some signs of life as a starting pitcher. I'm going to say it right now. Edward Cabrera hasn't been elite, but he also hasn't been a complete liability that I thought he was going to be at the start of the season. I said they should immediately convert him into a relief pitcher. But look at these last 3 starts. So going back to the series against the Athletics, 5 2/3, 1 walk, 2 runs. Against the White Sox, 5 innings, 1 walk, 1 run. And now against the Cubs, 5 innings, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts with the 3 runs on that home run. So for the last 3 turns in the rotation, Cabrera has been good. He's been doing his job as a starting pitcher. That's what he has to keep doing. Maybe the Marlins, eventually decide Cabrera can be a trade candidate down the road. If he keeps this up, there's teams around there that look at the stuff. They have pitching coaches. They have internal philosophies of how to work with him. Cabrera could be this year's Trevor Rogers. Dare I say this? Edward Cabrera can get you some worthwhile prospects and some real talent at the deadline. It's not out of the realm of possibility, which, going back to the start of the year, it's wild that I'm even saying this. But look, I'm a Marlins fan. I'm a diehard Marlins fan. If you ever listen or watch the podcast and you hear me criticize this team or criticize certain moves they make, it's because I love the team. I love the Marlins. I want them to do well. And I feel like Cabrera, yes, it's very volatile. It can change at every moment. Do I still have faith in him as a starting pitcher consistently? No. But on any given night, Cabrera can go out there and give you a really good game and strike out a ton of batters. That's what he did. 7 strikeouts in 5 innings. He's shown some glimpses of greatness. Now, he has never put it all together, but for a contending team at the deadline, Edward Cabrera could potentially pitch himself into trade conversations. I really do believe that. Valente Belloso, let's talk about Belloso. He got moved to the bullpen because of the return of Ryan Weathers. I'm going to talk about Ryan Weathers in the last segment. Really exciting that Ryan Weathers is back. Valente Belloso earned himself a spot on this team. He was the guy that was always up and down between AAA and the big league club. But Belloso pitched so well and was effective in his stints with the team, not just this year, but last year as well, that the Marlins decided, you know what? We're going to keep Belloso on the team, move him into the bullpen so we can still get some innings out of him and he can provide that long relief. I don't think the Tyler Phillips long relief experiment has necessarily been the best one. I also think the George Soriano experiment was awful to begin with. Belloso kind of fills that role. Him and Ronnie Enriquez, it feels like both of them can go in the game at any point in time and give you multiple innings. Belloso tonight, 3 innings of scoreless ball, only 2 hits, walked 1, struck out 1. His ERA on the year is 2.88. So that tells you Belloso has been effective both as a starting pitcher and now as he transitions into becoming a relief pitcher. And I think that's a really good thing for the Marlins. Having Belloso in this role essentially saved the game. If the Marlins roll out George Soriano, they don't win this game. If the Marlins roll out Tyler Phillips in this situation, I don't know if they win this. But Belloso gave them a chance. He comes in for the 7th, 8th, and 9th, throws up zeros. So after that 6th inning, so Jesus Tinoco comes in the 6th inning, gives up 4 runs. The lead is gone. Now you're down 7-6. Ronnie Enriquez, who's also been really good this season, he's absolutely disgusting. He's got some great pitches. Enriquez is a weapon. He closes the door in the 6th, turns the ball over to Belloso, and I saw Calvin Fauché warming up. So in the bottom of the 8th, when Stowers hit that double off the wall, the camera panned over to the bullpen camera, and you see Calvin Fauché warming. I think Fauché comes in the game if the Marlins tie it in the 8th. But as I said, Wagaman hits the one to the warning track, and they don't tie it, so it goes to the 9th. You're still down a run. At that point, your only hope is to either win it in the bottom of the 9th or tie it and you go to extras. That's where you want to save Calvin Fauché. He's one of your high leverage arms. You save him for potentially the 10th inning. So Beozo gets another opportunity in the ninth. You don't want to keep bleeding. You don't want the Cubs to get another insurance run. That would be devastating for your chances in the bottom half of the ninth. Beozo threw up a 0. Great outing from Valente Beozo. He was clutch. He's a phenomenal story. Came over from the Astros in, I believe it was, who was it? Was it the Jacob Amaya trade? Yeah, I think it was the Jacob Amaya trade. And nobody really knew a lot about him. He wasn't a popular name. He wasn't a top prospect, but he has a role on this team moving forward. That is very clear. If the Marlins need him to start, he can start. If the Marlins want to throw him out in relief and give him some innings, like in a close game, such as Monday night, then you absolutely have to credit Valente Beozo for the job he's doing. Coming up next, I'm going to talk about Ryan Weathers. Ryan Weathers is the man of the hour as he makes his start on Tuesday. I'm really excited to see what's his encore to his first start against these same Cubs. What does he have to do in order to be successful? And I really think Ryan Weathers is going to be a weapon for this team the rest of the season. That's coming up right after this. A reminder that if you are watching on YouTube, leave that comment, leave that like, subscribe. But remember, if you can't watch the show on the YouTube channel, you can also find us on pretty much every podcast platform out there. Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, you name it. You can listen to Locked On Marlins as well. Ryan Weathers is making his second start of the season. And ironically, it's going to be against the Cubs again. That's just how the schedule panned out. That's where his spot in the rotation happened to be. His first start against the Cubs looked really good. 5 innings, 1 run, struck out 5. And now his second start is against the Cubs, but this time it's at home. So a different ballpark environment, and you see the same batters. Now, is that an advantage for the pitcher or the hitter? I think it's a little bit of both. I think both players, both sides of that equation can find an advantage. For the hitter's perspective, you're seeing the same guy twice. You see the arm angle, you know what he throws, what his tendencies were last time you were at the plate, and I'm sure the Cubs are going to notice that and do some film study tonight or tomorrow morning, whatever they have to do to prepare for Ryan Weathers, because he brings the juice. He brings the gas. Ryan Weathers is no joke. He throws 98, 99 miles an hour. The velocity is elite. Ryan Weathers back in spring training hit 99. In his last start, or his first start of the season rather, against the Cubs, he also hit 99 miles an hour. How does the velocity look his second turn through the rotation? How much of the first start was just nerves, adrenaline, letting it rip your first start back, your debut in 2025? Can he consistently throw in the upper 90s and attack hitters and locate the fastball? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is the command. Again, 1 walk his last start. How does the command translate into this game? He can't walk a ton of guys. He can't get into trouble, because that's where, when Ryan Weathers does get into trouble, it usually stems from control issues, from walks. Got a little shaky sometimes in his rehab starts this season, but I really liked what I saw his last start. I got the faith that he'll do it again. Ryan Weathers moving forward for the Marlins is an absolute boost. It's a power boost for this rotation. The rotation has been struggling as a collective group, but you're now starting to see guys settle down. Everybody is kind of getting into their own role, I would say. Sandy Alcantara, the last couple starts, hasn't been great, but what did I say? I said it's only 1 inning that's costing him in these outings. Max Meyer, he was really good to start the season. 14 strikeouts against the Reds, He was just dominant. He was like tied for third with the major league lead in strikeouts. And then in Seattle, he has a rough one. Against the A's, he has a rough one. And he settled down a little bit in his last start against, I believe, Tampa. And now he has an opportunity against the Cubs to go out there and on Wednesday get back into the groove of things. Max Meyer, I still have no worries about him. He's improved as a pitcher. The slider looks good. The changeup looks good. He's just got to locate well. Max Meyer will get into trouble when he fails to locate his secondary pitches, and then that fastball he's got to locate as well. Sandy Alcantara, talked about him moving forward. Sandy, Max, and now Ryan Weathers. Now, the back half of the rotation, you have Cal Quantrill, who had that immaculate inning against the Tampa Bay Rays. Last person I would have thought to do it, but Cal Quantrill was really effective in that game. Cal Quantrill, if he can get into a groove and string a couple, 2 or 3 of these starts together and not get blown up like the last few starts before Tampa Bay, then I'm going to feel a lot better about Cal Quantrill. I talked about Edward Cabrera as well. This is what the rotation is going to look like for the next few weeks. Yori Perez is still waiting to come back. He's going to start a rehab assignment in AAA Jacksonville. He's going to pitch tomorrow, I believe. So on Tuesday, Yori Perez is going to make the jump from Jupiter. He was rehabbing down with the Hammerheads back to higher competition, higher level of competition. What I like seeing from Yori Perez is the control. The last couple of rehab starts, I believe 7 innings, he didn't allow 1 walk. And that's huge for a pitcher coming off of Tommy John surgery, because as we've seen with Sandy, sometimes it takes a little bit for a pitcher to dial in the command, to make sure he's not all over the place with his stuff. Even though the velocity may look good, the secondaries look good from a shape perspective, you still have to locate your pitches. So Yori Perez definitely keeping tabs with his rehab assignments as he continues and builds his way back, and he's going to make his debut here pretty soon. I would expect Yori Perez to make his season debut for the Marlins sometime in June. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm expecting. So Yori Perez, Ryan Weathers, 2 huge additions to this pitching staff. If Edward Cabrera and Cal Quantrill can continue to be effective, they don't have to be superstars. They don't have to be Tarek Skubal out there on the mound. Nobody's asking them of that. But just do your job, be efficient, and the rest will take care of itself. That was an awesome game to watch as a Marlins fan. One of my favorites of the entire season. I hope you guys enjoyed watching that ending and watching Jesus Sanchez and everybody celebrate and get this win against the Cubbies. Thank you guys for listening. That's going to do it for today's edition of Locked On Marlins. For your second listen of the day, go check out the new Locked On MLB Game Night. You'll see my reaction on there. The hosts do a great job over there. It's over on the Locked On MLB channel. Until next time, guys, stay safe, stay locked on, and let's go fish.